Hey guys, hello. It is Taria, the life artist and your beauty specialist. And as always, it is my job to help you achieve your most phenomenal beauty inside and out. And guys, I do that by three ways: either motivational speaking, mentorship, or makeup artistry. Listen, I appreciate you coming over here to the life artistry page and tuning in with me. So today, y'all, it is all about the makeup. Now, I did this live tutorial, y'all, and there's no way for me to zoom in on this, y'all. But listen, I did a live tutorial on my Facebook page, and I'm going to download that as well over here. But if you want to go ahead and check that out, go to my Facebook page, and that is T.R.Jones on Facebook, okay? So listen, guys, I wanted to come to you guys really quick, and I wanted to do a little mini review. And I want to do this review on these Morphe palettes. Now, listen, everybody had these Morphe palettes, and I'm sure that there have been tons of people who have done reviews on them. But guys, this is my personal opinion, and I want to give y'all the lowdown and the skinny on them. Now, I personally use these palettes to do this look on my eye, right? So I have three palettes by Morphe. I have the 35B. The 35B palette. Now, the 35B palette is probably one of the most sought after palettes, I want to say, by Morphe, because it is full of these bright, brilliant colors. Do you see? Do you see these colors? They are absolutely brilliant. If you are a beauty that loves color, you will absolutely love the 35B palette by Morphe. Now, this is the thing. This product is a little bit under $30, and I say with shipping and everything, it comes up under $30. There are tons of these palettes on different sites. And when I say these palettes, I mean, I've seen this style palette with these exact colors with different brand names on different sites. But I'm one of those people who I am not a name person. I like to go by the quality of the product, which is why I'm a little skeptical about sometimes trying different things when I know this is what I want. When I've seen reviews on this palette, but I've seen different brands with this almost exact same palette, makes me a little leery. So I purchased the 35B palette, and y'all, it has lived up to my expectation. Now, I will say this. Yes, you do get 35 colors, but these colors are a little chalky. When I say that, I don't say that in a bad way. I just mean that when you apply your brush to this, to the eyeshadow, it does bring up a little product. But what I have found is that when I take my brush and I lay my brush inside of the product and then just gently maneuver my brush inside the product and pick it up, tap off the excess, it lays the product great on my eye. Now, yes, it does bring up a little of the product, but as long as you're not going, because you know sometimes we like to go back and forth in that product to kind of bring it up on the brush. You don't have to do that. If you have a good flat dense shader brush and you are using that technique that I just said about laying the brush, gently swiveling it in, or gently maneuvering that brush in, tapping off the excess, baby, you will be good. So other than that, guys, these colors are brilliant. I find that them going on the eye naked without primer, they are not as bright and brilliant, although they are great. But if you use a good NYX eyeshadow base, whether Black Bean, Milk, or any of the other colors, even if you use any of the other eyeshadow bases, they come off even more brilliant and even more true to color. So I absolutely love it. The only thing that I would say is that it is a little chalky. Now, that's the 35B. The other one that I have is the 35S palette. Now, everybody was trying to get that 35M palette. No. The 35, what is it? That one that was a mix of shimmers and mattes. I never got that because they came out with the 35S and the 35M. So I said, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get that bundle deal where I have a palette that's strictly shimmers, and then one that's strictly mattes. So the 35OS is all shimmers. All shimmers. Very true to color, guys. How it is showing up in the screen is really how these colors are. There are some kind of pale pinks in there. There are some very cranberry-ish colors in there on down to the very, very light fair colors down there by my pinky, as well as some nice brown and gold tones. Very, very pretty. Now, I will say this. I think that this palette is really good for beauty enthusiasts and makeup artists, people who will get a lot of versatility out of this palette. I don't think that this palette is good for people who are the one tone, one brand. No, let me rephrase that. People who are who really don't like to kind of maneuver with a lot of colors and a lot of textures and stuff, because it's all shimmer. Shimmer can come off very unflattering sometimes when you're using it if you don't have a good technique with it, and if you're using it all over the lid. I find that a very good balanced clean lid comes from a mix of shimmers and mattes. Excuse me, guys, I'm dealing with a little throat here. But yeah, I find that this palette is a good investment for people who like to maneuver between mattes and shimmers. Who like to maneuver between mattes and shimmers and will get a good use out of a shimmer palette. I am a makeup artist, and I definitely love playing with different kinds of finishes of eyeshadows. So this palette was great for me. If I was a person who was just beginning in makeup, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this palette, because you're not going to get a lot of versatility out of it because it's only shimmer. Versus, I think, the 35O palette, where it was a mix of mattes and shimmers, okay? So this one also does kind of have a little chalkiness. The shimmer does kind of come up a little bit. But again, I find that the colors are just as brilliant when they come up. If you use that same technique where you lay the brush down, flat shader brush, lay it flat down into the pan, swivel it just a little bit, and then tap off the excess. Excuse me, you should be absolutely fine. But other than that, I absolutely love this palette. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Again, it comes in right up under $30 with shipping and everything. So it is definitely a palette that I would recommend. Absolutely. So the third palette that I have by Morphe is the 35M palette. Now, this palette, Shonda, is a palette that I would recommend for anybody. Beginner, intermediate, just tapping into, don't know if you really want to get into makeup. This is a palette that I would recommend for you. Why? Because it is a neutral palette that has from the very, very lightest to the very, very darkest in there. It has great crease colors in between, and it has these orange tones and some really, really nice nude tones and neutral tones in there that would really, really bring together a look for any occasion, day, night, or for any skin tone. Now, the thing about this palette is the same thing that I would say about the rest of them. It is a little chalky, but again, applying that brush technique that I said, guys, you will be totally fine. Okay. Now, the thing about this palette versus the 35S palette, the all shimmer palette, is that mattes look great on any skin type, any age range. You can do a complete look with an all matte palette. Can you do one with the shimmer palette? Absolutely. But I think that there is a more finished, polished look that happens when you're using mattes versus all shimmers, or a combination of the two. Just shimmers by themselves can possibly work, but the look and the finish is just going to give a different kind of vibe, a different kind of feel. So just depending on what you're wanting is going to depend on if that's going to be a palette that's going to be worth your coin. Again, from the very, very fairest white to the very, very darkest ebony shade in there, this palette is absolutely wonderful. I definitely would recommend it. As a matter of fact, I would recommend this palette as a beginner palette for anybody. If you were going to start off with a palette from Morphe, I would recommend this one. There are some purple tones, there's some berry tones, there's a new palette that has come out. Haven't tried that yet, but definitely the 35O, the 35OM, the 35OS, and then the 35B palette are the three Morphe palettes that I have. Y'all, they are some absolutely great palettes. I definitely would recommend them. Again, I am Taria, the Life Artist and your beauty specialist. Guys, thank you so much for hanging with me, and I will see you guys in the next video.